Alright, so I know the title of this video seems kind of flippant and hostile, and that would be in character for me, but don't worry, it's probably not what you're thinking. I'm not making this video to say, like, I hate all of you and you should all be punished for being annoying or something. And I'm not saying, like, oh, people need to be punched in the face in order to stop saying things I don't like or anything like that. No, no, that's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at, I I guess normally I would like try to saddle up to this or something, segue into it, but I don't really have a way to do that here. So basically, so many people just go their whole lives without getting punched in the face, which is, I mean, it seems like a good thing, but then it has several benefits, okay? And again, I know that sounds weird, but just stick with me. So sometimes you can see videos of people getting into fights and stuff, and they get hit once in the face, and they are just completely stunned. Like, it's not even they get knocked unconscious or anything, they just get hit, and they're like, whoa, I didn't know that could happen. What's going on here? I'm scared. And so then they're in trouble, and usually they wind up losing pretty badly in that case. So more people, and when I say more people need to get punched in the face, I generally mean that in like a controlled environment. You know, take some boxing classes or something. I don't mean just ask strangers to hit you or something. That's probably a bad idea. But so many people just have no idea how to fight at all, and like that's just a dangerous situation to be in. You know, it's like driving without a seatbelt. Like, if you don't need it, then great, you're fine. But if you do need it, then you're in serious trouble if you don't have it. So, like, you know, just knowing how to take a hit or two, that's a good skill, okay? That's the best way I can think to put it. It's a good skill to have. But on top of that, a lot of people don't seem to. Wow, really? On top of that, a lot of people don't seem to realize, number one, just how physically exhausting fighting or any sort of violence is. Number two, how there's kind of a mental barrier between you and actually hurting somebody, usually. And number three, how badly you or somebody else could be hurt if you get in an actual fight. Because even if you're not really trying to kill somebody, you could easily hit them, they fall, hit their head just correctly on the table or on the concrete floor or something, and they die. Like that's a very real thing that can happen. And I think if more people understood that, hey, not only could I possibly seriously hurt someone, but I could wind up dead, even if it's, not the intention of anybody there, then people would probably be, less willing to do something stupid. Less willing to try starting fights with people, less willing to pick on someone who might be fucking crazy, just things like that. Because that's the thing. A substantial portion of people, and I say substantial portion, I mean like the vast majority of people, don't seem to really understand what violence entails. And I mean everything from like full on warfare between countries with planes bombing shit, and just, getting into a fight with a stranger because they spilled something on you or something. A lot of people don't seem to realize what violence entails, and like, again, there's mental barriers there. It's physically very draining. Like, you see professional boxers and MMA fighters and stuff, sometimes in the middle of a fight, they'll both like stop and hold on to each other and take a breath or something. They aren't getting bored. They're just exhausted. They're throwing everything into every punch. And those guys are in really, really good shape. So imagine how difficult it would be for a regular person who gets into that sort of situation. And I don't know exactly how related this is, but it is the same general idea of like people don't understand how violence is, and they should, have at least some understanding of it. Is, like I said, most people, at least most people in the developed world nowadays, haven't really experienced warfare, which is a good thing. It's a good thing that you've never had your house bombed and your children buried under rubble or anything like that. But because of that, it just is this distant, looming thing that no one seems to understand just how horrible it is. And so just as more people need to get punched in the face, I think a lot more people should have to see footage from war zones and have to see footage from, modern combat. Because here's the thing, you might be thinking that you've seen some of it because of stuff they show on the news, and sometimes they do show disturbing stuff on the news, don't get me wrong, like dead children being carried out of rubble in Gaza and stuff like, yeah, they show stuff like that, but it's so much worse. It really is. Like, there's a combat footage subreddit, which I do frequent, and I'll admit there's a couple of different reasons I go there. The first one being that I'm just, curious. Like, I want to know what this sort of stuff looks like. Like, combat for such a long time, like, we didn't have video cameras or photos or anything, so you just had to use your imagination unless you'd actually been there. Whereas nowadays we have cameras all over the place, so like regular people can get a good look at what it's like. And I'll tell you right now, it's far more disturbing than what you're probably imagining. Like, I still sometimes see, and it should be disturbing, let's be clear about that. Like, if you're watching it and getting enjoyment out of it or not feeling anything, then something is probably wrong with you. But, there's been footage taken in places like, well, the past almost 2 years, most of it has been coming out of Ukraine, and it's disturbing to see, like, Russian soldiers get shot and just flop over, and then, other guys have to make sure they're dead, so they just shoot at the corpse a couple of times, and you can see the body twitch as bullets hit it. It's disturbing, even if there's no blood. Like, because sometimes when there's no blood, it's more disturbing. Like, part of me really wishes I didn't know what it looked like when someone gets shot in the head. It's nothing like what it looks like in movies, believe me. But I think that information is really, really valuable because, again, thank goodness I've never experienced war firsthand. Hopefully I don't. But I have a better understanding of it and what it's like than what most Americans do, I think. Because I'm not cheering on one side or another in any conflict, even if I have very clear goals for who I want to win, I suppose. Like, I can want one side or another to win without cheering on the deaths of regular soldiers, because again, I want Russia to lose in their invasion of Ukraine, but if I see, like, a tank blown up, I try not to let it be lost on me that, yeah, 3 human lives just ended. Or, if I see a soldier getting shot and I don't know anything about that guy, maybe he was a horrible war criminal and I wouldn't feel sorry for him, but that's somebody's son, And I try not to let that be lost on me. And then I look around and I see other people, like, either cheering on war, cheering on battles where thousands of soldiers are dead, or just openly advocating for going to war, and usually it's people living in really comfortable suburban America who are saying shit like this, suburban or rural America, who are saying shit like this and just advocating, hey, let's go to war, it should be fun, it should be great. And that's more disturbing, honestly, because these people have no idea what they're getting into, they have no idea what they're advocating for, no idea what they're voting for, and so when I say more people need to get punched in the face and more people need to, understand what war is and understand what violence is, it would really help to prevent that sort of mindset from taking root in our culture, or our cultures, I should say, because I think this goes for every place in the world to some extent. Last year, footage got released of a Russian deserter being executed with a sledgehammer, and that I really wish I hadn't seen. That is not something I need stored up here, because that's going to stay up there till I die. But I think that if, like, a lot of Russian people do seem to support the current war, I think a lot fewer of them would if they knew about that. And yeah, again, that's just what I'm getting at. More people should be punched in the face. Everyone should be punched in the face. And everyone should understand exactly what violence and warfare entails. Because the fact that so many people seem to glorify and fetishize it is disturbing.